Hi, and welcome to another inspiring artist worth studying. Today I'm going to be talking about Massimiliano Frezzato. Hi, my name is Escobar. I'm a storyboard artist on the Simpsons television show. I've been working on the show for over 25 years now, and I'm here to inspire you. So I'm just going to say Frezzato because Massiamiala. No, I have a hard time saying that. Um, so I became aware of this artist once again by going to San Diego Comic Con, and I was at the Bud Plant booth when Bud Plant was still there, and I would just go through and look through everything that they had, just looking for anything or anyone that stood out to me. And his work in his comics that I found absolutely stood out, and it was in part because very similar to Alessandro Barbucci, his style was kind of cartoony in a Freddie Moore-esque way, which is to say, kind of close to the Disney style, the Disney house style, but taken to a level where it was a little bit more it was taken to a little another level, like a little bit more. I don't want to say rendered, but a little bit more modeled. So it was very unique at the time. Now I think in a lot of ways things like CG animation has kind of started becoming a little bit what Frezzato's work is in these books, in these comics. But at the time, and still, I think that his artwork is worth taking a look at. So let's take a look at it so that I could show you what I mean. All right, so I've found some very not every single example that I found is high res. Some of it is very low res, and so we're gonna have to sort of deal with the pixelation here. But as you can see, this is an example of one of the comic book pages. And I'm going to show you the comics, by the way, too. But there's a lot of, he's got a lot of different styles, or a lot of different looks to his work. I'm going to show you a very specific look, that the one that appeals to me the most. And this is where I'm going to stay. I'm not going to look at his entire body of work. I'm only going to stick to the one group of art, the one comic with the one art style that I really liked. And this is one of it. So like, as you can tell here, you can see that this is really cartoony, kind of animated, Western animation looking. And his look, the way that he draws is really pushed. He doesn't draw just generic people. He really pushes the shapes. Like this guy's nose is very big. Like you could see that his eyes are very Western animation type eyes, really sunk into the sockets. He's got a really square jawed here. His mouth goes down much further than would be idealized, making his character much more interesting to look at. He's But at the same time, as you can tell, in spite of the fact that a lot of the designs and the faces are very pushed, he's got a very strong draftsmanship style. He knows his anatomy. His characters are anatomically sound, but at the same time, he's willing to really push. See how pushed this is? This pose is really pushed, while at the same time having this very naturalistic look to his characters, and at the same time, look how pushed this face is, and how cartoony this is. And here again, this another character. Look how pushed this skull is. Like you could tell, like well, here's the eye sockets, and it's a very large nose. Then we have the cheekbone comes down here, and we got this really big chin with the mouth coming inside. Really fantastic, great designs. Look, here's another very pixely version. So let's see if we can find another one that's not as pixely. Unfortunately, this one's also pixely, but look how great this face design is. Very small eyes, but the same type of eyes, right? Again, really big, large nose, underplane of the nose, beautiful design. Look how beautiful this composition is too. His environments are very cool looking. But it's really the way that he draws characters, really appealing faces, very pushed designs. That's what really drew me to his work was how he was willing to go beyond the standard kind of bland, everybody looks the same kind of a look, and really start pushing the people so they all have unique characters, and it feels very much like an animated design, while at the same time being a lot more a little bit more observational, a little bit more. I don't want to. Again, I don't like using the word rendered. Whenever I hear the word rendered, I just imagine somebody going like this, just very slowly shading, and that is that just that is the most unappealing thing to me, right? That's what it feels like when it feels like to me when I say rendered, and I'm using the word feeling on purpose here. It's extremely subjective, emotional imagery that I get when I hear the word rendered. So I want to use a different word, convincing. Naturalistic, something else other than rendered. So this is much more much more naturalistic feeling when he's working, when he's doing these characters and these character designs. Here's a beautiful little pencil drawing. So I'm going to try to find as much pencil drawing as possible, and one of the reasons why is because his pencil underdrawing, his rough stuff, is really energetic. You can see all the secrets. You could see the thinking process and all that stuff that I really enjoy. And here's one of these pencil drawings, which just, it feels really great. You could see that all the little rough lines that he was putting in before he started kind of solidifying and finding what he wants. We've got this kind of line here, just kind of dividing the values between, here's the underline and the plane down here, and this is where the head is putting a cast shadow across the face. She's got a cast shadow across her face. Really beautiful lyrical pencil drawing here, and at the same time you can tell that it's even this character here has a very unique, non-idealized face, and here you could actually see the muscles of the face coming in and around, right, wrapping around rhythmically across. And so again, naturalistic understanding, academic understanding of the human anatomy, while being pushed and more designed, looking very unique. That's something that really I gravitate to. So again, this is a much clearer, cleaner, higher res example of what I'm talking about. We've got this see how beautiful this character's design is. Look how pretty she is, and how her character design is pushed too. Not as idealized as you would think. Like, she's kind of got a much broader chin here, much broader nose, but these kind of like cat slanted eyes, cartoony, while still keeping this kind of naturalistic looking finish to them, so that it feels a little bit more three-dimensional. But what really sells it is not the final render. It's not all the doodads and doohickeys and how naturalistic it looks. What really sells this drawing is how pushed and designed and almost cartoony these characters look. And here's some rough pencils of, and look how gorgeous this stuff is. I mean, it's just fantastic. And you can see the how you could kind of see the secrets while at the same time not seeing it as the secret. Like you could see, this is just a hand. It feels handmade. It feels hand drawn, right? Like this. Look at and look how much energy there is in these pencil drawings, and look how pushed these characters are. They're really, really unique. Look how beautiful this face design is. Look how great his design is. While at the same time, like the pencil, even the way that he's kind of quickly adding cross hatching here, just to define the planes of these faces, so that there is some kind of dimension to these, and anatomically sound dimensions to these really cartoony faces. It's just fantastic, and look how expressive this is. Look how beautiful this face is. Look how fantastic you could see all the planes of the head. We're looking straight up at this guy. How the eye is sunken into the eye socket. How this muscle comes up and makes that expression come up while we're looking up at this head. That's some solid drawing right there. It's not just being able to pull off a straight on or 3/4, but we're looking up or we're looking down. We're being expressive while we're looking up and looking down. That kind of stuff is extremely difficult to do, and he's doing it really, really well here. Another pencil sketch. Beautiful, beautiful little drawing. As we get further away, the details get less and less. So here we have this guy in the foreground with the most amount of detail, and then she's in the middle ground with less detail, and then finally this guy has the least amount of detail. It's almost as if there's some kind of atmospheric perspective here, but it's really great. And again, really, look how this eye has a thick eyelid. It goes around and across, and it goes into an eye socket. We see all this, all the eye muscles and details that come in here. It's inside the socket. We see the eyebrow here coming across. We see the muscles that come up and around, wrap around, and at the same time here we have the nose. Right, we have this plane here. We have the distinct, clear designation of where the bottom plane of the nose is, and he actually drew it here so you could see it, and then this is where the shadows fall. And the same thing with her. Like you could see that here is where the nose has the bottom plane of her nose, and then there's like a shape here designating where there's a cast shadow. And her eye is exactly the same. We have the eyeball here, we have the tear duct here, we have this thick eyelid. So good. Such a fantastic drawing. This is, really well drafted. Here's a little bit more final, more painted drawing here. It looks like it's got pencil, and I don't know how he painted the rest of this, but it's a beautiful cartoony drawing. Again, what sells this is that it's not completely naturalistic. It's got an element of cartoon. It's got an element of exaggeration that kind of pushes it a little bit beyond reality, and then it sells it. It makes it much more appealing and much more interesting to look at. Another pencil sketch here, and you're going to see, I have a lot of the pencils. Like I said, this is my favorite thing about looking at his work, is looking at his underlying pencil stuff, because what he ends up doing is he ends up finishing his stuff really with this kind of finish, which is much more naturalistic, and it's got less lines and things like that. Well, I kind of like the way his pencils look and the way that he's really you can see the pencil mileage, you can see the thinking, you can see the energy that goes into this kind of drawing. And this to me is much more appealing than a final finish where you don't get to see any of this magic, right? Like these rough kind of process drawings. So yeah, see, this is what it looks like when it's done. And so we've got these. It's a lot more polished, a lot more finished. It's beautiful. Don't get me wrong. It's still beautiful, and there's still a lot of energy and a lot of power and a lot to love because of how pushed these characters are and how designed these characters are. Look how expressive this is, and look how pushed these designs are. So there's still lots to look at, lots to see and to study and to get out of this, especially things like this eye, the way that it's inside the socket. He draws beautiful cartoon eyes that really work, and look at this beautiful face and expression. She's very, very pretty, while still not being completely she wouldn't be pretty if she wasn't idealized, right? But at the same time, she's just pushed just enough so that she's a little bit beyond cartoony. I mean, realistic and a little bit more cartoony. And look at this guy's expression. Look how wide his nose is. Like, he has this kind of look. His guys tend to have very, very wide noses like this. But I think it just works really well. And these characters right here are just crazy. I'm curious to know what method he's using, if this is digital or if this is traditional. I know that I started collecting his comics before digital went full hog. Okay, so here we have a pencil drawing, beautiful, beautiful pencil drawing, but then we've got this kind of like light source coming in. So I'm wondering if this is gouache or ink, and probably gouache. Maybe it's acrylic. I'm not sure, but it's what a fantastic drawing. Look at this expression. Look at the way that this is lit. Look at how well drawn this is. It's just the sketch roughed out all around. This guy's coming down here. The details here are lost, which is great. Look at her details here are lost. Like, a lot of this stuff is just kind of lost details. It's just kind of like the implication of what we're seeing because of the way that everything is lit, which is great. But look how solid this is. This is all wrapping around the character. We see that this is coming up and wrapping around. This is wrapping around, all reinforcing the dimension here, reinforcing the foreshortening here. That's the kind of thing you want to have in your drawings. It's just anything that reinforces the dimension and the structure and the solidity of your drawing. That's what you want. But it's a beautiful expression. Here's the eye socket. You could actually see he actually drew it. Boom, boom, really, and yet it's still cartoony, and it's still kind of pushed a little bit beyond realism, which is what kind of makes this appealing. And now that's it. That's where we end. So, fantastic art. Frezzato is definitely one of my favorite guys to study, especially when he was doing the Mazers comics. So let me bring up some of the books I want to talk to you about, in case you want to pick up something to study with his work. Okay, so I'm going to begin with this. This is the Margot comic. So this is, I believe, I should really look at the dates, but I think this is what he was doing before the Mazers. I picked this up because it said Frezzato on it, and so this style is a lot less cartoony than the Mazers one. So this is where it's a lot more naturalistic looking. I don't like this nearly as much. It's nice and it's great and it's beautiful, but definitely I don't I I'm not I don't like it as much. It's not pushed as much as I'd like. But if you like, if you would like to see a slightly less cartoony version of his work, then Margot, you could pick this one up. So these are the two comics that I picked up over at San Diego when I first started becoming aware of his work. And this is definitely the cartoony comic that from the examples that I showed you are basically from this series. As you can tell, like I mean, I've done copies from these comics just to do studies. Because they're so cartoony and they're beautiful. It's beautiful work. Look at this lady's face. Isn't that great? So I'll put links to all these books in the description of this video. But these are great. Okay, and then finally this is my this is my all-time favorite Frezzato book. He did that I've picked up. I'll see if I could find it and put a link to this. But this is the golden book, right? So this is a pencil version of I believe this is the original size of the work of one of the comics. So what you've got here, okay, and hold on to your butts because this is fantastic. There's only, so this is a collector's item apparently. This is 19 out of 500. So if you could find something like this, if I could find a link to anything that's like this is going to be good. And this is actually signed, by the way. But look at this. Look. It's the pencil work. And then there's like sketches in the back here. Look at, but it's the pencil work here. So you get to see the actual pencils, and I believe the original size. It's just gorgeous. Skip ahead. So we've got some of this stuff like this, and then we've got like on the other side here we have these like doodles and sketches. Just so cool, right? Like this is just the artist playing around, and here's the whole process. We've got sketches up here on the top, and then we've got the comic down here. The pencil version of this stuff. This is just gold. And we've got this here. We've got a page here. So if I could find a link to this, I will definitely put a link to this sort of thing. Look at this kind of. We've got the rough comp of the comic up here. Just kind of stick figures. And then here's the final. I love this thing. This is just one of the best things. And that's it. I'm going to try to pronounce his name again. That is Massimiliano Frezzato. Pick up his work if you can. Like I said, I'll put links to all this stuff if I could find it. If I could find the links to the stuff, I will put it here in the description of this video so you can pick it up. like I said, that last one that I showed you is obviously a limited run, so there's only 500 of those. So if you could pick one up, if you could find one, hopefully they made more than one. It was published by Heavy Metal Magazine, so I don't know if you'll find it or not, but if you can, that would be ideal. And but you could find some of the examples online that I showed you. Some of these pencil drawings that I showed you today in this video are from books like the one that I just showed you. So okay, well, thanks a lot, everyone, and I will talk to you next time. All right, bye.